you, Aspen? You coming over to say hello too? We got some puppies up in here. Hi, everyone. It's Friday evening as I'm recording this, and I've just had such a beautiful day working as a healer, and I wanted to share how I find work as a healer and how I find healers for myself, because healers need healers, don't they, sweet girl? They sure do. Okay. I'm sorry, Aspen. I'll give you some attention as well. So, I am a yoga teacher, but that was not the beginning of my experience as a healer. I've been a healer since I was a child. I've always had the ability to just touch people and their pain would disappear. And I never wanted to go into massage therapy for a variety of reasons, not least of which getting licensed in any modality did not resonate with me. Being upheld as someone else's ethics board just doesn't resonate with me. But I completely understand why other people do it, and I don't want to discourage anyone from doing that because body work is a beautiful modality. It was just never a modality that resonated with me. Part of the reason is because so often when people go to like massage therapists, they want the massage therapist to do all the work for them. And I like to work with people. I like to give people the tools to heal themselves because that's really what all healing is self-healing. I'm just facilitating, I'm just teaching your body how to heal itself when I touch it, sending a little bit of the energy, the gift that I've been given through your body so your body can remember, oh, I don't want to be in pain anymore. And pain, of course, is not a punishment. It often feels that way or a consequence of some bad decision. That's not the message of pain. Pain is just a message that you need to be making a different decision in your life. So, um, in 2017, I was working in the corporate world, the opposite of healing work. I was staring at spreadsheets all day and I was figuring out how to optimize parcels logistics, how the cheapest way to get something from an Amazon warehouse to your front door. That's what I was doing. And I got laid off from that job blessedly with the biggest smile on my face, so happy about it. And I got a huge severance package. And I'd also been teaching yoga on the side. I'd been teaching yoga and working at this company for about the same amount of time. And I never really wanted to teach yoga full time because there just wasn't a lot of money in it. Teaching at a studio or at a gym, you're getting paid, the most I've gotten paid at a studio is like $150 a class, which is going to sound like a lot to a lot of yoga teachers. Most yoga studios are paying like 20, $25 a class. And especially if you're at a gym, you might just be making minimum wage, whatever that is in your state. And I, at that point, had a mortgage in Santa Barbara. I needed to be making a lot more money. So I didn't think I would be able to do it as a yoga teacher, but I took some of that severance that I got from my corporate job and I hired a business coach. And she gave me a business plan that was essentially like, use the yoga classes that you're already teaching as a way to funnel people into private work, to working with you privately. And then we created a plan from there in terms of like how I would work privately with people. So I have kind of two ways that people work with me privately. One is I work with them as a healer. And at this point, I take maybe one or two clients a year at most, at most. I'll explain why in a moment. And then the other funnel, which is the bulk of my business and a lot of what I talk about on my YouTube channel, not really on these lives, but on the other videos that I have on here, is how to build a business as a healer, how to have those sales conversations in a way that doesn't feel salesy, how to market yourself online in a way that you're not spending your whole day creating content, how to find clients that really resonate with you with and actually charge enough money so that you can get the money that you need for your life, for to hire the healers that you need to live the lifestyle that you need. So um the healing work that I do in like where I'm actually working one-on-one with someone and I'm touching their body and I'm doing my energy work. The reason I don't do this very often is because I am so sensitive that I experience what they experience. And this is part of the reason that I quit my master's in traditional Chinese medicine. Is needling people is painful and I would experience their pain and then I didn't at that I in the master's program they were training me to have the energy protection practices not to take it on, but it was just like the bottom line is I just don't want to do this type of work. I want to heal the world. I don't want people to be in pain. I don't want to work one-on-one with people. I want to facilitate healers helping other people. And that is really my talent. That combines my corporate experience working in marketing, PR, just basic business building with my healing experience, with just understanding what it means to be a healer and what it takes to really take care of yourself as a healer. So, I am now living in Jackson, Wyoming. I'll be here at least till May. I might stay longer. I haven't decided yet. My spirit guides haven't told me yet. And I a week ago had a student come into class and tell me about an issue that she was having. And this happens all the time. And I can often just give them a little bit of advice that like in the context of that class, and that's all I need to do. So I'm not actively looking for clients, but this person kind of like I got the message in my body of like you actually need to help this person. You can help her. So I offered her, I said, we can do a healing session if you'd like, after I gave her some information about what she was going through. And then the next day, I fell down the stairs in this house where I'm house sitting. And I got this just incredible burning pain in my right neck and right shoulder. And I was just like so bummed. It just sucks to be in pain. But pain and any sort of physical ailment is always a manifestation of some sort of spiritual disconnect. So I knew there was a message in here and I just wasn't hearing it. So flash forward to today, I go to teach yoga and then I go to work with my client, and my client is having the same pain that I am having. And I realize we both need the same message. I'm just the one who's going to channel it for both of us. But this is why I don't take clients very often, because I'm so sensitive that I feel what they're feeling and experience it in my body through, the magic of the universe. That it affects me. I'm that sensitive. So this is why I love having this like 1 degree of separation of working with healers to help them find clients rather than me taking on those clients myself. So anyway, the message that I received, which I would like to share with all of you, is one of the questions she asked, which is of course a question that comes up constantly with people who are sick or in pain, people who are dying, right? I do some work in hospice as well. I do some work in the death world. It's actually some of my favorite work to do, working in the death world, both pre and post death. Is so often there's a little bit of a self pity, right? And I say the word pity, and some people have a negative connotation to that, but it's a very normal human experience to feel sorry for yourself or to feel sorry for something else, and just to be like, why me? Why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? And that was a lot of what I was experiencing this week as I was working through my own like really painful, but relatively mild recovery for the injuries that I've experienced in my body. I've had, chronic pain from car accidents that have lasted for years. I've had, I had long COVID for a long time. I've had multiple knee surgeries and years long recoveries. So I knew it was very mild, but there was still a strong message in there. But there was still this question this week of like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And when she asked me that question, the immediate question that popped into my head is, well, maybe we don't need to ask why. Because if there is a reason for any sort of suffering, it's to transmute it into joy and gratitude. And that is such a tricky, difficult thing to do when you're in pain, to be grateful for pain. Thank you for me being in pain. No, it's so hard. That's such a hard place to go to as a human, because you think if I'm grateful for this, I'm going to have more of it. But that's not how it works. If you're grateful for something, you're just transmuting that moment into joy. You're not necessarily inviting in more of that experience. You're just saying, thank you for this right now. Thank you for what's happening right now. Wouldn't change it. It is changing, right? It's the acceptance of how things are that allow for you to create the change and the healing that you actually want in your body. So when she said why, the question that popped into my head was, we don't need to ask why. Why don't we ask the pain? What does it need? What does this ailment need? And she said, she sat with it for a moment and she said, well, it needs rest. And so we talked a lot about, okay, well, what does it mean to rest? Because that's not always sleep. Sleep isn't always restful, right? And it's you can't just sleep for 15 hours a day. There are some ailments that call for that, but most of the time if you're sleeping 15 hours a day, like something's really wrong, right? You're probably depressed as a result of your illness, unless it's something, very acute and it's just for a day or two. But so often rest can look more nourishing than that, right? So the message that I want to pass on to you, for any pain that you're experiencing in your body, whether it's emotional pain, physical pain, spiritual pain, what does it need? Ask it what it needs, and if it needs rest, what is going to give you the experience of rest so that you come out of that experience feeling more energy, feeling more energized. And one of the messages that I got today after teaching yoga, doing healing work in yoga, and then teaching or working with this client and one-on-one from a private healing client standpoint was like, this is actually restful for you, for me, right? Working with this individual, afterwards I was just like so happy and buzzing because I was able to transmute my own energy to help her feel better. And it was such a relief to be like, oh, I can allow clients into my life again. I don't have to, a lot of people who work in the healing world are working with way too many people because they're not charging enough money. And that's a conversation that we need to have as well, is you need to be realistic about how many people you can work with per day, per week, and how much money you need to be charging people. Doesn't matter what the market charges, matters what you need, because you will always be able to find someone who can afford you, no matter what your rates are. If you're a healer, someone is doing exactly what you're doing for free, and someone is doing exactly what you're doing and getting paid thousands of dollars for it. So you've got to figure out what you need to charge in order to afford your life, right? So I have my rates, I work on a sliding scale. And there's like a spreadsheet that I give my business coaching clients of like, let's figure out how much money you need to actually live life the way you want to live it. Not just like the bare minimum, but like, what do you actually want right now and how much does it cost? And then, only then, can we find clients who will pay you that amount of money, because that is what's required for you to do this work, right? So for me, like, it's always a one-to-one. If I'm working with a healing client, I need to receive healing work that day. So right now I have a barter going with a local massage therapist, Nick Adams. He's incredible. I highly recommend him if you come to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And we're trading business coaching for body work. So I don't have to pay him one-to-one, right? But if I did, I would charge the person who I'm working with for how much I have to pay him, right? In order to do the work that I need to do with this person. So that's kind of the sliding scale I'm talking about. But because I have this barter where I'm doing an energy exchange, I felt comfortable charging her the lower end of my sliding scale. So I bring all this back to like how I get paid as a healer, how I afford to be a healer. It's by knowing how much I need to make. It's by knowing the maximum number of clients that I can work with in a day and a week. I can work with a maximum of one client per day, absolute max 3 days a week. Now, I can work with like a dozen business coaching clients, but the hands-on healing work in my body, in my experience, this is not true for everyone, but for me, it is draining because I'm experiencing what they're experiencing in order to heal it, in a way that I have to have a lot of space in my life. I can't just work back to back to back with clients. I need a lot of space in my life to take care of myself so that I can do my most effective healing work. And that's why so many of the healing clients that I end up working with, I usually only work with them once or twice because I'm so effective at what I do. And that's my preference. I prefer to work with people maybe once or twice. There are occasionally people who come into my life where I work with them for months or years on end. But my preference is just to get in there, give them the information they need, take whatever pain away from them that is holding them back, and then move on to my next, project, whatever that may be. So I offer this to you to hopefully inspire you, perhaps, if you're a healer, to raise your rates, if you hire healers, to, maybe pay them more money to budget for that. But also just to be really realistic about what it takes for you to live your life and have energy at the end of the day. And if you're experiencing any sort of ailment in your body, any sort of pain, it's always a message that you just need to make a different decision, and you need to ask that pain, like, what is the different decision I need to make? And it was such a blessing today that the different decision that I need to make is to help more people feel less pain in their bodies. What a gift. What an honor. What a sacred honor. I'm grateful for it. All right. Happy Friday, friends. I hope you have a great weekend. Bye.